Thursday, going to be super, super short, super, super sweet. I'm going to give you a little tip that I use anytime I feel like way out of my realm. This isn't something I used to do, but it's something that I implement anytime I feel like I'm stepping up to something that I don't feel adequate in. What most people do is they will get arrogant. They will get rude to people, and that's how they like build themselves up in their confidence. And it's like it's something that people default to whenever they aren't comfortable in themselves. We've all seen that happen and play out. And or they back down and they get meek and they, oh, I'm so sorry, or they're stuttering over their words, or they don't want to get in people's way, and they don't own their space. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that I always do is, I guess there's a couple of steps to this, but it's still gonna be short and sweet. First thing is your posture and just holding yourself up like you belong in this room. I noticed that kind of about myself by default. I wasn't necessarily a very confident person, but I've noticed before, just sharing transparently with you, that whenever I like walk into a room, a lot of people will like turn, right? Or like into even like a big area or something like that. And I'm not like, pushing my way through. It's not that I'm confident. Like I happened by this by accident. It's not that I was necessarily confident originally, but I'm just a person that like I'm impatient, to be honest with you. Patience is something that I work on. And I will walk through a room like I do everything else, like really fast. And I didn't even know that about myself until somebody was saying, I was taking a student when I was in the ICU as a nurse. And they said, oh, Lauren, she's the one that's going to come in here like a tornado. And the student was like, okay. And she was like, are you Lauren? I said, yes. And they told me that. I was like, interesting. So that's when I started kind of noticing it. I thought, that is interesting. I started walking to the people and like, not everybody does that, but it makes a difference, and it makes a difference in the way that people respond to you, and therefore the way that you're going to respond to yourself. But it's not cocky or arrogant. It's just shoulders back, walking in like, you're owning your space. Like I belong here. But the way that I will do that, if I'm really like I'm stepping onto a stage I've never been on, or if I'm really stepping into something that I'm not familiar with, whenever I was a student and I go to clinics and I'd be working under other providers and I'd feel intimidated, I would put myself in the mindset, and this is the really like, the Better Thought Thursday part of this. I would put myself into a mindset of somebody that I respect. So I have people that, I think about and reflect on. I think, how do they show up to this? How do they own their space? I study people. I watch them. Pastors in my church are very good at speaking, and I will, watch them and the little things that they do, the inflections in their voice, the little things, the pauses that they take, all of those things, the way that they structure a story, all of those things. And I will think about, how would that person step into that field? And one of the things that a lot of people do, and I don't know if you've noticed this before, but I wish I could remember which book it was. I tried to re-reference this myself because I wanted to think, is there anything else I could pull out of this? Another step, this isn't necessarily Better Thought, but there is such things like the power, I forget what it's called, like power presentation or something like that. It's not presentation, but where you show up and the first thing you do, you walk into a room and you just look at your audience. You take it in. And there's something about that. Oprah Winfrey does that. She steps up onto a stage. She'll take it in. You've seen other people do that whenever they're like looking out at the audience. They're just looking, you're taking it in. There is a psychological part of that where you are connecting with the others and you're feeling that sense of belonging, and other people are feeling your sense of belonging. And it's not just whoa, this person's here, now they're talking all of a sudden a million miles per hour and everything. So the way that you present yourself, and I will literally think, because it feels weird to me still, like if I step into a position like that I'm the person in power, and or the person of not in power but in who is, like a guest expert or something like that. And I will actually pretend that I'm somebody else in my mind. I feel like I'm stepping into that person to kind of an alter ego. And that alter ego is never rude, it's never mean to anybody, it's not insecure, it's loving, it's kind to everybody, including themselves. And you have to figure out who is your kind of alter ego that you're stepping into. And I hope this is helpful, guys, for Better Thought Thursday. I'll see you.